and this is Mehmed Rahman, and I'm going to teach you English. And in English today I have got a topic on active voice and passive voice. So as we know that there are two types of voice in English, active voice and passive voice. Before explaining these voices, I would like to ask one question. Why is active voice spoken very much in all over the world as compared to passive voice? What's the answer? Of course, the reason is in active voice we consider subject first and object at the end. But in passive voice we consider object first and subject at the end. That's the main reason to speak active voice normally and in our daily life. Passive voice is also used, but passive voice is most probably used in research work or in speech. But the application of active voice is most probably everywhere. You can listen, you can speak. Normally you speak in active voice. I would like to take one example in order to make you understand the difference between the active voice and passive voice. For example, she makes tea. I use very short and sweet example in order to make you understand. She makes tea. Is this active voice or passive voice? Of course, this is active voice. Why? Because as I told you, in active voice we consider subject first. What is the subject here? She. And what is an object here? Tea. And what is this? This is verb. Verb are those words which have got move or action. For example, I teach English, you learn English. So what is the verb there? Teach and learn. Similarly here, what is the action word here? Makes. And we also call this main verb as well. What is subject in a sentence? Subject is called doer of an action. Means a person who performs action on something. And what is an object here? Object is called receiver of an action, where the action is being applied. That is called object. So whenever we make sentence of active voice, we always need word subject. But whenever we change from active to passive voice, we always need what? Object. Without object, passive is not possible. But the one thing is common in passive voice, we always use third form of verb in passive voice in all tenses. For example, I'm going to change this voice, this active voice. She makes tea. What is object here? Tea. Tea is countable noun or uncountable noun? Of course, this is uncountable noun. So we use what? Tea is made. Tea is made by her. This is now passive voice, no more active voice. So we will write here PV. So what are those things necessary to change from active voice to passive voice? The very first thing, we need object. And always we use what? Third form of verb in order to change from active voice to passive voice. Open the door. This type of sentence is called imperative sentence, and we call order as well. In this case, there is no subject given there. It is, the structure is verb plus object. Right? Direct, we are given verb plus object. These types of sentences are called imperative and without subject. Open the door. How can we change this type of sentence from active to passive. In this case, we use one structure, that is left. And then we take object from here. What is the object here? The door. Let the door be opened. And we use helping verb be. This is the answer of those sentences which are given without subject. So sometimes we are not given subject, so we use what? The structure left in order to change from active to passive voice. In some WH questions, we have different ways to change from active to passive. For example, I make a sentence, what have you cooked today? What have you cooked today? What have you cooked today? So in this case, how do we change from active to passive? In this case, this subject becomes what? Object itself. So we can change what has been cooked today by you. By you. Whenever the sentence is given with WH and the subject becomes what? Object. Whenever we change from active to passive voice. In this case, what will happen? The subject will become object as well. But there is one more sentence in WH. For example, who drove the car? Who drove a car? Who drove a car? Who drove a car? In this case also, what? Who itself is subject as well and object as well. So how do we change? We change by use by whom, by whom, and we whatever rules we use to change from active to passive. First of all, we recognize the voice. Which type of voice is this? This is AV, active voice. Correct. And the second thing, then we recognize the tense. Which tense is this in active voice? This is simple past. What? Simple past. So it will change into simple past in the passive as well. So by whom was a car driven? This is now passive voice, no more active voice. In this case, we use what? By whom was a car driven. This type of sentence we use in WH by whom, and we can easily change from active to passive. So I hope you understand the difference between the active voice and passive voice, and I use some examples here along with the subject as well and without subject as well, and inshallah in the next class we will be able to understand other topics in English. Thank you very much.